Good evening, folks. Here we are for another Sunday evening, Sunday slot live feed with Pom from Palatrax. Cool, there's a bit of a squeak going on there. So yeah, let's see who's going to drop in on this chilly old Sunday evening. It's down here in North Devon, isn't it? But Mike and Maya have been down here helping on this weekend. Done some sterling work yesterday all around we're putting up a new fence. Hi Ian, hope you're doing well, sir. Good to see you here again. So Mike and Maya have been down here, and then Mike had a cracking, only one of the smaller fish, nothing wrong with small fish, that's for certain, but one of the pretty, really heavily scaled ones down on Jack's. Good evening, Andre, all the way from Slovakia. You going to come and see me next week, Andre? Ian Brookman, the cover star of our latest Catchable Fish. Good to see you. Neil, total blank today. Oh no, Ian, wow, it's that time of year, isn't it? Galen, all the way from Canada. We got loads of people coming from all over the world to join us, which is fantastic. Trevor, how you doing? We're fitting new fences down here around Ashton's Pools. So Mike and Maya have been hard at work with me yesterday. 5 hours strimming, and he killed me. And lots of kisses back to you, Ian. I'm sure there'll be more cases of you with lots more fish going forward. Keith Powell, long time no speak. How you doing, Keith? I did watch your thing earlier, and I didn't know what was going on, so that's about par for the course. But no, the Catchable Fish magazine, if you haven't seen it, do grab a copy online. It's an jobby. I'll get Keith actually to pop up a link, Keith, if you're able to. Keith's the editor of the magazine. For those who don't know, it's kind of a new initiative from Palatrax. Fantastic, Andre. Is Milan going to come as well? And have you got any snow? All the way from Slovakia. I know Milan was out last night. Cat, you caught a lovely fish. Paul Billock, how you doing, sir? Oh, just to let you know, I'll just kick things off with the live feed draw tonight is so you've got to send, if you want to enter, yes to the Palatrax Facebook Messenger page. Hi Anthony, good to see you here again. Good work on March issue. Yes, we've got lots going on with the Catchable Fish. I'll come back to that in a minute. But tonight is, and you'll see some of the field testing group have been having excellent. Actually, let me take one out of the packet. But anyhow, well, what it is the size 6, 8s and 10s in the new offset grips in the Eagle Wave pattern. I am here. So if one of you fine people will have a chance to win that, all you've got to do is send yes to the Facebook Messenger page, Palatrax Facebook Messenger page. So, Ian Brookman, I do have a slightly heavy topic for tonight. What's your view on river systems of the UK and the pollution and predation issues we have? That's a heavy one. Steve Thompson, how you doing, sir? Good to see you. Keith has just put up, anybody who hasn't seen the link, I'm going to come back to that in a minute, Ian. That is a heavy one. I could speak to you for years on that one. But, so anybody interested in, if you haven't seen the new magazine, Catchable Fish, the February edition, which has just been launched. If you click on that link there, it'll take you through. Now, there is 8 free competitions in there. That's the way. We're not having advertisers. We're having people who are prepared to help us with competitions, so you, the readership, can have a good chance of winning some really good competitions, to be fair. So they're all free. So if you click on that link, you'll go through to the magazine. The magazine's all designed about helping. Yeah, there's lots of Palatrax stuff in there, but there has to be quite honest, because that's the way we fish. But Paul saying loves and catchable fish. That's fantastic, Paul. Appreciate your comments. Steve, how you doing? I'm going to be talking about Steve shortly. Good evening, James. Hope you're well. So let's get back to this heavy topic. Right, what is my view? And I'll have to keep this short, Ian. The river systems are a disgusting mess. Bodies like the Angling Trust and the Environment Agency, I'm not too sure what they're doing about it. I've been in this trade for 26 years, and we seem to be staggering from one disaster to another. Predation, that's created by man. I feel totally mortified how some of nature's life forms like otters and cormorants and things are vilified, when actually it's man's situation there causing this. It is pretty appalling. If you look at the plastics in the water, I mean, you've got some people out there trying to fight the fight, including myself, when, dumping a lead and what bait is not made of food sourcing is causing pollution problems just adds to the issue. But it's just a shame. But we can look around all parts of the world and go, why are we doing this? Why we seem to be on a headlong charge to kill the planet? It's not me trying to be anything other than tell it as I see it, and it's absolutely horrendous what's going on. So yes, I could go on, and it will feature some of these controversial topics we're not going to be scared of with Catch Small Fish. Me and Keith are very, very focused on making people aware. Now, we're not telling anybody what to do or how to do it. What we will do is draw you some conclusions that I've made over the last 26 years especially, and the common sense conclusions that we've come to. So if we carry on doing what we're doing, the rivers are going to be completely wrecked. Lake, even seeing like water reservoirs, our drinking water, with terrible kind of... I was at a reservoir recently. I couldn't believe the rubbish all around the water edges. I know they go through purification systems and things like that, but there's no need for bad man management. Discharging, why are people allowed to discharge, and water companies allowed to discharge sewage back into the water systems? It's just, you couldn't write this stuff, could you? At the moment, the whole political scene, everything is just, well, you couldn't, as I say, you couldn't write it. It's just unbelievable. So I don't want to start off with a dampener, so we'll move on quickly in, but it's a great question. It's a topic that will feature more and more, as we spread our wings. Because to be quite honest, I think the only reason people aren't aware of it is because they don't know about it, and various entities have done their best to hide stuff. They certainly haven't been there to proclaim the problems, and therefore we're just rushing off the edge of the cliff, and nobody's doing anything about it. And the trouble is, aside from man's just attitude, it's nature. What we're doing to nature is unbelievable. We're doing to all these different life forms. But as I say, predation, very hot topic. Personally, if you're going to put fish in a lake, I've got my own lakes, you need to put a fence around them, because otters and such like, you can't do anything about cormorants. There is obviously some legislation out there where you can defend yourself against cormorants. Otters, and rightly so, are a very protected species. There's only about 1,500 in this country, as in England. There's more in Wales and Scotland. And should they be vilified as much as they are? No, I think it's terrible. I've seen some pictures and stuff on sites, fishing sites, where we're just leaving ourselves open to the antis. Unfortunately, you have a water that you can't put fences or electric fence. A couple of electric wires will do it at the right height. You have to just run the risk that otters could turn up like any other predator, like a kingfisher. To be honest, that's a predator. We don't shout too much about them, do we? But I won't get on my soapbox, but I feel very, very ashamed sometimes when I see angling entities, especially, really, really going hard at something that doesn't know the difference between wrong and right in human terminology. They're hungry, they have to feed their offspring. If you woke up every morning and you were hungry, you had to feed your offspring, you'd do anything and everything. And it's a hot topic, a long topic, and I won't go into too much detail now because I don't want to kind of ruin the good feeling. But it's certainly one we'll do some more stuff on going forward. But personally, we're wrecking the rivers, wrecking the lakes, and predation is not out of control. It's out of kind of sync with actually what's happening out there. People have put up a picture of a big fish that's been eaten by an otter or parts of it, and it's going, oh, look at this is terrible, whilst we're polluting the whole river systems and the ecosystems. So a bit out of balance, but there we go. So I'm missing loads of comments, so bear with me, folks. But thanks for that, Ian. It's a good topic. Hi, Stephen. Dave Clifford. When you're coming down, Dave, we're missing you, mate. We're missing you. Love Catch Small Fish. That's from Paul again, so thanks for that. If we can only do what you want us to do. Hi, Mick. Darren, how you doing? Colin, you'll be down here soon. Yeah, do shout, especially to Keith. He's the editor. Any suggestions on this magazine? We're growing it. More people are getting interested, especially from the trade, because it's giving a very, very realistic view. We're not taking this and saying, oh, it's wonderful, when it actually isn't. But talking about wonderful things, I'll just give them another shout out. Let me... so, somebody tonight, brand new Actually, to be fair, we've been waiting for the packaging, so the packaging's now here. So let me see if I can show you and you've got people out there. You can see, hopefully, it's offset. So in the Eagle Wave format, been very, very successful. All our testing on it, very, very, well-known pattern. So if you'd like to be in chance with winning some of the first ones that have left HQ, so 6, 8 and 10s, just send yes to the Palatrax Facebook Messenger page. Right, let me get back on here. Paul Simmons, thank you for the mags. Robert, how you doing? Hope you and your brother are well. Oh, Anthony can't stop long. Got to pack down and booking for 8ish. Oh, dear me. Pete, evening. Paul, just talking about Paul. Paul's had some great success on the new curve shanks, which is fantastic. Rob, Milan, congratulations. Milan is a big fish catcher, good friend and colleague of Andre out in Slovakia. And I see last night you had a great big lump of a common, so it can't be that cold over there. But congratulations, Milan. Steve Pratchett, how you doing, sir? Great to see so many people. Steve Baines, hi. Oh, so looking forward to hitting the bank after having a knee problem by the looks of it. After having a new knee, this week. Oh, that must be pretty damn painful, Stephen. But hopefully, swift recovery, and you'll be back on the beach soon. I walked around the lakes this morning, and the amount of cormorants was crazy. Yeah, but like I say, Ian, I don't blame nature. Nature doesn't know, the way we humanise things and then go, oh, look at those cormorants. They just don't know. Why are we sitting there vilifying them when we're raping the waters where they should be naturally feeding? You can't have it both ways. And I get I say I'm more emotional than anything because I really do think about nature. And hi Simon, hi Sam, look forward to seeing you. Spoke to Sam earlier, or was it yesterday now? It goes all over there. It's yesterday, wasn't it? So yeah, when it comes to things like cormorants this year, and people go, oh look at them, the black, evil black things and one thing or another. I mean, well, we don't say that about kingfishers. And like I say, it's just some of the influences within the industry and with other arenas. Are kind of saying what they're saying. Yes, what's happening is happening, and we do have predation. But what can you expect if we don't look after everything else that's around it? So, yes. Question on hook link length. When trotting, I'm thinking of I've seen this one in. Where is it? Oh, I saw. Oh no, that's on my phone. Sorry, Ian. Yeah, I'm going to have to come back to you on that because I didn't actually print it off. But all I will say, I'm not pretending to be, like I say, never have been pretending to be the best angler in the world and know it all. That's one thing I do know, is I don't know it all. So those kind of things, Ian, I personally think they're better to throw out onto the team page. I know we're not just focused on the team this evening, Team Palatrax, which is free to join, folks. So go to my website, palatrax.co.uk. I feel a bit like QVC here, selling things. But no, it's a free initiative, loads and loads. I mean, it's getting on to 4,000 of us now, from literally, as you can see from tonight, from between Canada and Slovakia and everything in between, and further afield, Thailand especially. So yeah, unfortunately, there is a natural food chain. There is, Wayne, and I would remove the unfortunately, it's just life, it's just nature. When we've come along and we're doing things that is upsetting the balance, and we get upset if something eats something. I see where people are going, oh, my youngest son Charlie has just brought me a nice cup of tea. Thanks, Charlie. But it's a very hot topic, very controversial. I see all kinds of terrible things being said about it. But what I would say, to ring fence it for this evening, is just think about the creature. They don't know. They're not human. They can't humanise things. And if they're hungry, they have every right to do what they're doing. I'm afraid. If an otter gets through my fences and things like that, or I haven't got a fence up, that's on me. I'm afraid it's on me. I think probably what's worse with otters is the visual impact, because big fish they'll only take certain sections, especially like the soft organs and the back of the fish. So you actually see something. If they just took it and ate it, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. So right, anything to, well, I'll tell you something. I'm going to just show you something, because you think the end of next month is April. I'm old, so I shouldn't really be saying that because it's like wishing my life away. But one of the team members has developed a new beach casting kind of affair for surface fishing. And oh, hang on a second, you've got to knock that off. 1 second, yeah, 1 second. My power lead was doing a walk then because the door was being closed. Anyway, so this is something we will. It's a really nice bit of kit one of the team members has made for me and sent me through. And yeah, watch this space on that because we'll be field testing it, putting it. The angler, the team member, I won't embarrass him by saying his name, but this is really well made and really well thought through. But again, another edge. This is literally where you're going to be able to fish with your hook bait just literally dangling on top of the water. This is like a little fishing rod, so your line will come straight down from there. Really well made. Really quite sturdy, but also really sensitive. So looking forward to that. And don't forget, fish will feed off the surface all year round. You might not see them jumping around or see them because it's cloudy and they're not sitting up on top, but they're certainly up in the upper layers a lot of the time. What's this? Dave Clifford, you'll be down. Well, I can't say. It's sad times, Dave. We're not seeing you on the bank, my friend. Every day we wait there at the end of the drive thinking today could be the day that Dave turns up. No, mate, you're more than welcome whenever. So has anybody got any questions for me tonight? I've got some questions here. Looks like, well, like I say, there's it's a thing of beauty, this, James. It's really well put together. And it is slightly different. So Matthew's saying, hope to see Dave soon. See, you're being missed by all of us. Unfortunately, Matthew couldn't make the work party yesterday, so he was out drinking. So unfortunately, you'll have to work twice as hard next time. But yeah, James, it's the same premise, obviously, but with a twist on it. So watch this space, and I'm sure we'll all be having a proper play with them. I'll get some more made up and get them field tested within the team. So right, we've got I've got a load of questions here. So if you've got any more, just stop me. Tell me. I've got something else I've been sent through from Rig and Ready. I'll get one of those. I still got one of those from the 90s. You're showing your age, Stephen. You're showing your age. No, surface fishing, just to digress as I tend to do all the time, surface fishing is so underrated. Being in the trade and being hyper cynical, is it because it's not some big huge money making machine compared to a lot of the other stuff, or is it the fact it is more difficult? It's definitely more difficult than just casting out and waiting. Not that I've got a problem with that. But it's strange that so many people. I used to do it at Paddington. There's like veins from my. I was busy eating and drinking and relaxing in the hot tub. There you go. Living the life of luxury, Matthew. So when I used to fly fish for carp at Paddington, there was less than 0.5% would ever fish on the surface, full stop, let alone fly fishing. I don't think I ever saw anybody fly fishing, and I used to allow fly fishing for carp because that's how I tended to fish for them. But just with controller floats and and things like we were talking here, it's not done. And so it's like I suppose especially this goes across, to be fair, a lot of tactics nowadays where we're fishing hard on the bottom. You'll only catch fish hard on the bottom if they're feeding hard on the bottom, and it's very difficult to drag them from elsewhere, especially the levels, because they're sat at levels for specific reasons. So therefore it's always, like I'm always saying, always go to the fish, and that's not just physically going to them in their swim or the swim which they're in, but actually finding where they are in the swim. And a lot of times they'll just be under the surface. I've caught them every month of the year on my fly rod with a highly flavoured cork ball, and they just show up. Don't think they sit and do nothing. Don't think they won't take a bait at mid-water or like on a zig. And I suppose if you equate it to like the match fishing scenario, it's like saying, right, okay, I'm going to do all forms of match fishing, but I'm not going to fish with a bagging waggler well, you wouldn't win many matches if you didn't have that in your armoury. And so think about surface fishing, think about it. You know, it's a really, if you think about float fishing, all you're doing is in reverse to a zigzag, aren't you? So you're fishing the levels using a float. Well, you're doing it the other way around. You know, we're using a stone as an anchor point and going up through the levels. I love fishing. So many lakes have banned it now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not banned here. I mean, you know, it would be a huge shame for me because I love it. It's so exciting, especially fly fishing for them, or any time when you're on the surface and you just, you know, see that mouth coming towards it, and then you hit into it, and happy days you're on, and it's such good fun. But the trouble is, a lot of lakes now are infested with seagulls, and then you've got a lot of bird life. So you're getting the swans tangled up, and you get all kinds of things. And so it is difficult for fisheries if they have that kind of predicament. But fortunately, touch wood, you know, I don't have those problems here. And, you know, we can surface fish merrily away. I've heard a lot of people, you know, this is an interesting one from Stephen Baines here, say the carp in France will not take bait from the surface. Is there any truth in this, or is it more to do with the tactic that it's simply not used over there? Interesting your thoughts. Well, it's very, 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 very good point, to be honest, because I go on about this a lot of times, Stephen, when I'm over in France especially. There is, to be quite honest, it's not a lot different over here. I think it's just that we're a smaller country and more focused in fishing and things like that, so you're seeing things. But you think of all the women in a fishing magazine, I mean, okay, they're not like they used to be, but there was still the odd feature about surface fishing. You know, you go into Europe, I don't think I've ever seen a feature about surface fishing. And to say fish won't take off the surface is beyond me, because that's based on assumption, isn't it? How can you say every lake and every carp in the whole of France won't take off the surface? At the end of the day, you won't catch them unless you're surface fishing. And surface fishing to me is also fishing on the drop and different things like that. I think in all my experience, and you know, I've had relatively a large amount of experience over there, people don't go over there. I know fisheries that have said to me, no, you won't take them off the surface here. And you think, won't you? Is it just because you're saying that, therefore nobody fishes for them, therefore you'll never catch them off the surface? It's not that they won't take off the surface. And I don't believe that statement. Well, I believe that statement to be a massive assumption, and assumptions could be horribly wrong. But there we go. So I'm with you. As soon as I get some decent weather, my surface cook will back in the van. I'm going into. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, though, Ian. And please take it with love and respect. All year round. You know, I've always got some of the floaters available. And if I think the conditions in any way, shape or form, I just pop some out. You've got no problems popping out a few of the floaters on the surface. They're a food source, and just see if there's any action. And to be quite honest, if you're seeing action where, you know, fish are starting to move on the surface, that's the time when to bring out the zigs. So never, ever, ever think it's just a summer tactic, because I promise you it isn't. I promise you. And I need to get back into it. I mean, my fishing at the moment is so far down the scale. It's shocking, but I do hope to have moved my office to one of the pools down here this year and do quite a bit of fishing. And I'm going to focus a lot more on zig rig fishing and things like that. Because to be quite honest, when you're fishing and you're not getting bites on the bottom, it's always worth fishing on the top or in between. So pack them and keep them in there all year round, and suddenly you find a small bay, you see a couple of fish underneath the water, you can get those chummies out. Well, not chummies, the floaters out. Don't use chummies. Get the floaters or a fish friendly floating pellet, and if they start taking, you're away and laughing, I can promise you. Wayne is saying here, March to October, most of our fish will be caught on the surface. Yes, Stephen, like I say, if you look at some of the captures I've had, you know, multiples, I wouldn't have had that if I'd been fishing on the deck. The deck that I personally think is the most, or it can be the most ineffective way of fishing, hard on the deck and doing some of the things that we were talking about in the industry nowadays, some of the trends. Surface fishing is so exciting, so massively exciting. And it's not difficult. We're going to do quite a lot of filming about surface fishing this year. it really isn't difficult. I suppose it's effort equals reward. You know, and when you're sitting there and there's nothing. The good thing about my pools is you get the exclusive. So you book the pool and you can do what you want. So you can wander around and do things like that. But if you're not getting anything, no bites, no indication at all on the bottom, I would suggest you're probably at the wrong place, and therefore, have zig rigs at different levels, or just, like I say, keep those floaters trickling in, and they will move, and the fish will find them, because it's no difficult. It's actually better in many ways, you think, because you're putting the floaters out, and the floaters are floating around, and the fish are likely to find them, or they're likely to cover over the fish, especially like when you're fishing a sail when you're pike fishing. So you've got like a little sail and it'll pull your pike float around and you're moving your bait around, so you're covering more ground, and you really can have some fantastic results. So Wayne's just saying it's it's proved wrong about not catching in France, and I would suggest I'm 1000% with you. If you have any floating braid and spom set, cast out and leave it on the water. Birds can't go anywhere near it. There you go. Thank you for that. Yeah. Caught fish on the surface after breaking ice in the shallow bay. There you go, Steve. And like I say, I've caught them on the fly rod in January with snow on the ground, and people have gone, they've seen me do it, and they go, no, you can't. And it's like, well, of course you can. That's, you just can't. We can never judge nature. There's so many things going on, especially in fishing, so many variables, air pressure, water temperatures, yada yada. And to expect them only to feed on the bottom is pretty naive, to be fair. Tony Turner, how are you doing, Tony? Good to see you. As you on, Tony, I am still in the midst of sorting out the fish into France. It will be happening. I'm talking to, only yesterday I had an email from them, so just for your sake and obviously Team Palatrax members, it will happen. So, Glenn Martin, what's your people's opinion with lead core leaders? So we can throw that open. All these questions are open for everybody. I'm just kind of driving the ship, so to speak, but we're all in this together. Lead core, I mean, I certainly wouldn't say lead core leaders. I mean, you do have the option now, and to be quite honest, lead core leaders have pretty much gone out the trade. It's very much non-toxic. That's the irony, isn't it? You can fish with a great big lump of lead, but then your leader is non-toxic. They certainly have their time and place, and I look at it that if a fishery requires you to do it for whatever reason, or you're fishing in situations. I fished in situations in Holland where the zebras are so bad, unless you fish with a leader, it would be compromising the fish's safety, to be fair. So yeah, I mean, I had them. I'm to be fair, I'm playing around with some stuff at the moment. But all I would caution again, it's not what you should be using every time. And this is what I've seen in the modern scene. And we're unfortunately steering back towards carp again when there's so many other species to catch. But, there is a time and a place, but don't use it all the time. Because what you have got is the diameter basically of the end of your line is in more obtrusive, and if you're with me, where fish can sense, not what we see, they can sense changes in water pressure and things like that, so they can identify with something that's alien. I suppose the best question, and I've asked it of several match anglers over the years, is I show them like a lead core rig, or to be fair, most of the fishing systems, and say to them, would you fish? Now these people that are catching fish to win, so they're going to go all out, aren't they? And then they just kind of laugh at it and say, well, we'd never fish like that, it's just too obtrusive, we're trying to go light, we're trying to scale down. And but they do have their time and place, without a shadow of a doubt. Certain waters, like I say, if you've got rocks, if you've got zebras and things like that, in my mind they have to be a must. But don't go down the lead core route, as in they contain lead. As we know, across all of Europe now, lead's being banned. It's only the UK that's not really, nobody's talking about it. It's all hidden under underground. I'm sure it'll all come here one day, because the industry can't hide from it forever, because it's exploding everywhere. But don't buy lead core. Just buy basically lead-free leaders, as they're known, so they're non-toxic. But that's my tilt on it. If anybody else, wants to jump in and say about it, but my main caution is, like a lot of fishing tackle, it's designed for niche situations, but it's gone mainstream, a bit like slack lining and things like that. You know, there's a tiny amount of times when you would consider slack lining, but I know people who slack line all the time don't appreciate, you know, that the fact is that you're not going to get proper bite indication. You know, no other area of fishing do you fish slack line. Slack line. I've got a new series of features coming up in Catch More Fish, and they're just called missed chances. And you know, when you put all these things together, like slack lines and you know the various other things, you know, not hitting drop backs, only focusing on man-made baits, never using naturals, all of these things, you're missing chances to catch more fish. And yeah, I'm going to be doing a features all about that. So lots happening on Catch More Fish. You say, if you've got any questions, folks, please do just shout out as I'm warbling away here. You know what I'm going to do now, before I go on to the next questions, I'm going to have a slurp of my brew. You can't beat Yorkshire tea. You cannot beat Yorkshire tea. I'll just give a shout out again for anybody new here. So tonight's draw for one lucky winner is going to win. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be really generous tonight. Tinny will kill me, but 2 lucky winners. So I'm going to send 2 sets of these out. So just send yes to the Palatrax Facebook Messenger page. Send yes if you want to be in that, and 2 if you find people watching this evening will be sent a packet. It will just be drawn at random, but there's not, you know, there's always only about 30-40 people kind of here, so always worth a shout, to be quite honest. Until we get up to a few hundred, then the odds will go down a bit. We're certainly aiming, Keith's doing some super duper stuff, and less Cornish tea. We've actually got some Cornish tea. Tinny bought it for a brother-in-law, no, nephew, niece, I don't know, whatever it is, for Christmas, and we still got it. My brother's son, nephew, there we go, I'm shouting in the background, getting that one wrong. So, yet to try it, so we might have to try that, because we've been left with it. So yes, interested in that, winning that. 2 of you will win a set of 3 6, 8 and 10s in the new Grips Eagle Ways, and I say, they're certainly catching a lot of fish, and hook, you know, they're holding strong and true like they should be. Got to be more than 5 watching. Yeah, well, Keith Hart, who's the editor of Catch More Fish, he's hard behind the scenes, looking at all the ways that we can start to gain traction on, let's say, all we have ever wanted, or I've ever wanted, is just to give people the opportunity to look at fishing from a different perspective. Let's say, never telling people how to fish, but suggesting there is other ways to fish, as there is in all other arenas of angling, sea fishing or whatever. You know, you don't go down sea fishing and just use one tactical approach. Well, we're getting very much that way now. And also, Catch More Fish is going to be very much about expanding, you know, like lure fishing. You know, just you know, you've got a couple of hours after work or whatever, just shoot down to the canal, have some great fun. You don't have to go out and fish in bivvies and all the time it takes and things like that. Great second magazine. Thank you very much, Tony. Yeah, they're coming. We're getting like people like Ian getting involved in doing well, maybe the front cover. So we're getting some good pictures through, and we're getting a lot of traction on it. Both are here and abroad, to be quite honest. So Tony, that was Keith's little thing there, setting up a wormery. Yeah, well, exactly. It's free bait. You know, people say to me, why on earth, as a bait manufacturer, do you go on about free bait? Well, it's true. You know, who am I to, you know, say don't use worms? Worms are just a fantastic bait. They're probably, in reality, because they're tougher than maggots and one thing and another, they possibly could be certainly in the top 3, but if not the top bait to use. And you can make a wormery and it's free bait, you know. I mean, I'm terrible. Matt, who's sitting here now probably eating pies, you've got to do this wormery, because we've got all this land here. We've got the opportunity to make a great wormery down here. And we did as kids, you know, we used to get the Dunjabinas from the old silage piles in the farm next to us and things like that. Really, really good natural baits. And floatfish worm for carp, oh, devastating. You see carp on the surface, get a worm, and you can even just flick it out and let it slowly go down, and you'll be surprised, because it's natural. It's oozing all the kind of foods, the aminos, all the things that will attract something. So yeah, get on that. And that's Keith's little thing, wormeries. So Vince, how you doing? All the way from Canada. So we've got a few Canadians. Ian Higginson, good to see you, matey. Give us a call at some stage. It's been a while. Never had Cornish tea. Send me one bag. No, I'm not. I'm going to have them all. I'll swap it for some cake, some chocolate cake, Stephen. So any questions so far on anything I've said? But what I'm going to do now is show you, which is what I did do, and then I started digressing, as I always do, is, and again, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I just want to focus on things that I find interesting, and I hope if I therefore make you aware of them, hopefully you'll be like me and you'll be interested. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to show this, but I was talking about this on the team page on my last live feed last week. So let me always get these buttons to turn around. Now, I've always been interested and never found anything that done the job. So this is by a company. I've only just found them. I say I'm not sponsored by them. They have sent me some samples to try out, so I'm happily doing that. A nice camo as well. So this is Regs and Ready. They're an English company based in Cumbria, and what they really do focus on is travel kits, and the reason, or travel rods and kits, and the reason I've got involved with them is because the owner Andy is very pro non-lead, you know, everything being fish safe, loves the grips and things like that. So that's how the relationship started, and I've talked about it in Catch More Fish. But this is one of the rods that you could basically go carp fishing. It's one of the heavier rods. If you're on holiday, like I say, that'll fit in a rucksack, but it's a proper hard case, so it's not some old cheap nasty stuff. And so what have you got in the bag? There's Paul saying he puts, Trevor Wheeler, good evening. Paul says he injects air into the poor old worms to get them float. Right, so this one comes with, let me just get my lights so I can shine a bit better onto it. So yeah, so when you go fishing, how many times have I been abroad and thought, oh, I've only had a rod with me. Look at that little spot over there. So this comes with a little bait runner. I haven't, like I say, I haven't used any of this stuff yet, but it does actually appear to be of pretty good quality. You know, some reels out there are pretty horrendous. This is actually a bait runner, so you could use this for all kinds of fishing. You could use this off the rocks, but obviously having the bait runner, so it's a nice reel, or it appears to be a nice reel. Of course, I'm not saying it's a Shimano or a Daiwa, but it's a nice reel. But let's get to the business end. So it comes with a reel, so you can buy it. Comes with a spare spool. The kid, yeah, I am really. So in here, and I actually think this is really kooky, and I'm hoping Andy will donate one to the. You can't have mine. But we'll donate one. Matt Bryce will probably steal this off me. But so this is, say, it's multifunctional. It's got different tips and things like that. So basically, it's all wrapped up in your little bag. And let's have a proper look. To be fair, I've not really had the chance to look at it. So I'm not going to try and put it together, but I'll just show you. So it comes with all these different tips, and I must admit, you know, back in the day, in my day, any travel rod was telescopic and they were pretty horrible. So this one, like I say, they do all these little lure ones. If you've read Catch More Fish, I'm talking about those, but these are more substantial. And I'm trying to find, where's the but basically, it's ever so well made. All of these things that you can take off and change, and you know, it's really pretty impressive, to be fair, folks. Just trying to find. So all I'm saying is there is a company out there, Rigged and Ready. I've never met the owner, but like I say, everything. It's almost like a gun. You know, you're fitting everything together, and then you know, so you can extend the length of everything, or you can have it short. But it's like I say, I don't like to sit here and try and sell anything as such, because that's not my job. At the end of the day, all I do is look at stick the reel on it. All I can do is do the same as what I do, you know, and find something. But I must admit, I'm pretty impressed with the quality, to be quite honest. So, yeah. And so you've got a perfectly serviceable rod and reel that stick in a little bag that you can carry on the plane or on the rucksack and things like that. And so if you come across those spots where you think, oh, especially somewhere like Holland, where there's water everywhere, you can just have a bit of a play. So rigged and ready. Have a look at them. It's got quite an interesting website, but I must admit I'm into this kind of stuff because it's pretty innovative. I'm not saying travel rods haven't been out there, but I don't know. I might be wrong. You might be able to tell me. But I've never seen anything like this in the UK, on the UK market. They're designed in the UK, but they are made abroad. But they do seem to be a very, you know, just like the little things like, you know, in the end here, where it's all done, all fitted, all nice. Yeah, just nice bit of kit. But I've always struggled if I'm going to go on a plane, and I go, listen, so last year I went to, unfortunately, I won't recommend where I went to, but it was Lanzarote, and it certainly was where I went. But you're sitting there overlooking the sea, and you're an angler, and you're thinking, oh, if I'd had a rod, I could have sat there on that rock, so I'm getting too fat to get this body out there. So, yeah. So I shall be putting this to good use, along with the Predator ones and any other ones that I'll try out, and I'll keep you updated. But no, I'm genuinely nicely surprised, and I said to him, you know, I sent him an email and said I had to admit I was really surprised, because seeing some of the stuff I see in the industry, it's pretty some of it's pretty appalling, to be fair. So how long does it get? The longest they are is 10'6". 10'6". Look at Tony. Yeah, there you go. See, look. Oh, sorry, I've missed the question. I'll come back to that in a minute. Paul's asking upon with the new Eagle Wave hooks, if I use LQ rig with them, would I still need the shrink tube on the hook? No, because you're actually creating a different dynamic. If you let me just grab it. And the main reason is the angle of the eye. So as you can see, and this is why a lot of people are liking, that's something that you normally, can you see that, folks? It's an outturned eye. Okay, so basically, can you see that? Oh, I can't see it. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm getting a new background here. It's terrible to show things like this background, but yeah, so you've got an outturned eye. So predominantly people see that as using with the chods. You don't have to. This is going to be a fantastic surface hook, I can tell you, in the 10s. It will be awesome, especially how I present on the surface. So and this offset, it's something that's for years, for 20 odd years, it's always been in the back of the head. And what I wanted to see is if the conclusions we're already drawing is we can bring out more patterns with this. I'd love to bring the Y-gape out with this. And the main thing for me is basically you're clearing the shank. You've got the 360 degrees around the point, which is clear. And I say, very, very good pattern. But no, don't put the shrink on there, because that's for taking it the other way. Just tie it up as normal. Just have that little centimetre or so gap of clear, Dyneema, and then make it up as normal. So hope that helps. So Tony's saying his first carp he caught was on a telescopic Shakespeare. Was it Woolworths? So Vince, yeah, 10'6" is the longest they go. Yeah, they are, Galen. Genuinely, when you've met me, you know what it's all about. I think we should only have good quality products. We shouldn't be offered some of this cheap rubbish. Yeah, it'll be. Yeah, I still got to be put through its paces, but we've been playing around with the lure rods, and well, I can't believe that they do a little telescopic one, and I always steer clear of telescopic. And he actually said to me, Andy, who owns the company, he said to me, you'll be surprised. I go, telescopic rods, and I have genuinely been surprised. So, and I say, I'm only telling people what I found. I'm not here to flog anything, but I am quite nicely surprised. So, Stephen is saying, I want to see the Bivvian bed chair that goes with this setup. To be fair, it would be nice to have a travel kit that fits in for purpose. Yeah, I think, because I say it's not just, you can fish off the beach off that, you can fish on a canal, on a lake, do anything. But then some of the more finer stuff, it's really mind-blowing how they've managed to get it down into these little packets, and then you get a rod that still gives the shape of performance. Because that's a lot of time, you get these flat spots where the spigot goes in and then another one and another one, and you don't get that natural arc. We're getting that natural arc with us with all the tests we've done so far. Let's see how they play out in anger. So, let's see. Did we go through something I would have in handy when I was in France? Because, that's what I'm saying, Tony. It's just something that we've all got the bug, haven't we? And you can't take all your gear with you. Like I say, I could have easily taken that in my hand luggage, in my rucksack, when I went to Lanzarote. And I could have just sat there, I could have taken a few little floats and fish and bread or whatever I could have got over there. And at least I was fishing. So that's what I think is cool. Tinny, my wife, is saying, don't think I'm taking one to Hungary next week. I've got to go and see the Danube, apparently. Yeah, I've got a big meeting and stuff out in Budapest next week, but no fishing. We're still talking about Yorkshire tea, Ian, but it's got to be, hang on a second, it's got to be road tested. Well, exactly, Ian. I think she's been very unfair. I hardly ever go fishing, and I do so much for her. I'm such a wonderful, loving husband. The irony is I'm going to a huge tackle show, and there'll be more fishing tackle there you can shake Harry's stick at. So, no fishing, but we will go out for some nice grub, because the diet's gone out the window yet again. So, right, where was my questions? So, any other questions, folks? Because the clock is ticking already. I can't believe how quickly these go. What's Steve saying? In my teens, I had a red telescopic from Argos, catching plenty of pike. Then one day, in a drain, I hooked into a big one, and it bent it double and snapped clean in half. Was gutted. Yeah, they are. That is the trouble, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, they weren't really designed to be anything but what they were, but they seem to have come on leaps and bounds, really leaps and bounds. I mean, this just came out of the blue. Saying the guy contacted me because he was so kind of obsessed or focused on grips. He's wanted to find it, and he's discovered grips, because grips are still pretty much hidden at the moment. Mainstream isn't taking any notice because they sell barbed and barbless, so they're not going to go and say, well, this is a third hook option, as in the hook point design. But this guy had found them, discovered them, contacted me, and then started talking about his company, and then we are where we are. And I just think it's great, an English company doing something that isn't really being done. Like I say, I'm sure there is other travel kits out there, but he's really kind of, that's his bag, so he's focusing on it. Do you need someone to carry your bag? I tell you what, you don't want to come to these shows. These shows are not fun. Everybody thinks they're fun, but when you're in my role, and you're setting up distribution deals and things like that, it's not all a bag of fun. It's all right when, like I say, the best shows, like the ones I've done in Swallow, the best shows, to be fair, I did, name dropping now, I did in Las Vegas, ICAST, and that was pretty, that was like a fishing show on steroids. I'd like to one day go to China Fish, which is a trade one, and to see what they're doing over there, because obviously a lot of the stuff comes out of the industry, but not that I'm interested in any terminal tackle from there, but there is other stuff. I've got quite a few things bubbling away at the moment, but yeah, shows are real. Yeah, full on. And then you don't stop on the evening, because you've always got clients to go out with, or you're talking to other people. So you go out for a meal just to discuss, like it might be a distribution with another country, it might be developing products or whatever. So yeah, they're not a bag of, joy all the time. But they're better than doing some jobs, I can assure you, by a country mile. Would you use a thermometer, especially in colder months of the year in your fishing? Personally, good question, Trevor, but personally, no. Because it is what it is. That's where I come from. It's a bit like when people say to me about moon phases. Without a doubt, there is some beliefs or assumptions made around moon phases, whether they're right or wrong. The Black Mirror only comes out on a blue full moon once a year kind of thing, which I don't pamper to. But the trouble is, when you go fishing, all it'll give you an indication is the water's cold. Anything under, they say, under the 39 degrees, it's very, very hard to get your general omnivore fish. So your carp, your bream, your tench, catfish, not catfish, sorry, that's predatory. They're one of the predatory fish that really don't do much in the winter. They seem to just hold up and wait until warmer temperatures. But if you're going fishing and it's cold, all I would say is, because I think, where am I with it all? I think, to be quite honest, we're kind of over-engineering fishing in many ways. We're going down routes like, what amino acids does it contain, what this, what that, when fishing is a lot more simpler than that. It's become very difficult, very confused, very complicated, which definitely impacts on people's catch rates, in my opinion, because they're not focusing on the fundamentals, which is from the rod tip down to the boilie stop or the bait on the hook. Those are the things that I focus on, and then watercraft. Watercraft is so underused now. It's not really spoken about. So if you're new to fishing and you don't know watercraft can't really be bought. I suppose you could have lessons with people and one thing like that, and they can taught you watercraft. But going to the temperatures, it is what it is, Trevor. If it's cold, it's cold, and if it's under, that. So what it'll give you an indication that it's less than, let's just call it 40 degrees Fahrenheit, so you're likely to get less bites than as the water temperature goes up. But I think it's very difficult to kind of judge your fishing around that, because people go fishing when they can. But if that's what you want and you want to take it, and you want to, some people I know take water temperatures, but then again you get different temperatures during different depths. And just keep records of it and see what happens. But how it actually helps you in your angling, I'm not too sure, because either the water temperature will be what the water temperature is, if that makes sense. Colin, now you're showing your age. Many years ago, people used to have these very long fiberglass car aerials. I remember not having pocket money, whipping some eyes on a makeshift cork. You really are. I bet you were fishing with Isaac. Cork had lots of silvers, happy days, and I can tell you another story about that. Loads after the war. Now, I'm not that old before, and it's not the Waterloo before anybody comes out and says how old I am. But no, in the Second World War, after the war, loads of tank aerials were used as little fishing rods. So there you go, because they were extendable, and there must have been a glut of them on the market, because people will start making little telescopic fishing rods out of them. Same thing, I suppose, Colin. I always believed in big fish moon, but end up with big steak moon on the cold barbecue. Yes. I think if somebody said to me about, I was asked to write for well, let me have a slurp before I burble on. It's going cold because I'm talking too much. I was asked to write a feature in a, it didn't go down well. Stuff I do doesn't go down well. I thought it was funny. Ask about moon phases and how it affected fish and what were my concerns around it. And I just wrote the feature, and it was literally a paragraph. And I put with it, I got off Shutterstock a picture of a werewolf, and basically said the only thing that concerns me on a full moon is these. And yeah. So data. Yeah, well, sometimes you can overload with data, Ian, as well. So so that's where I am, Stephen, with full moons and things like that. Because at the end of the day, if you're out, how can you judge what a fish is going to be doing? I mean, what we should all be asking the question is, why don't these bigger fish come out more often? When they're, to have attained, maintained and continued growing, they've got to eat more than anything else. So therefore, you would believe, because they're feeding more, you would have more chance of catching them. But where I am is, it's not about what we see, it's about what they sense, and they don't get caught very often because they don't get tripped up very often. I was just going to tank aerial, you beat me. What, you want me to beat you with a tank aerial? Come on down then, Paul, we'll sort that one out. Look at here, Rob, we're all showing our age here. I've still got my tank aerial rod that my granddad made for me. That's Robert, so fantastic. I fish when I can fish and make the best of the weather and temperatures I'm given. Yeah, Galen, that's exactly where I am. I think you can get too bogged down in it. Of course, if you've got the luxury of time, next week is going to be a beautiful day. The conditions look superb, and you can go that day or the next day when it's going to be howling and blowing a blizzard and things like that. Well, obviously you can have that better choice, but in reality, I mean, most people have to go when they can get time off. Only the werewolf ones, Ian. Only the werewolf ones. They're the big furry ones with teeth and claws. I don't honestly know. I would be surprised that there's cycles like that, but nature's so incredible it could well be down to that. But I don't think that would be why a big fish. It tends to be what happens is there's a belief that a big fish comes out on this cycle of the moon, so everybody goes fishing for it, and therefore the odds of somebody catching it potentially could be increased, couldn't they? Look at it, tank aerials all over. I can honestly say I've never had a tank aerial, so I must be so much younger than many people here. Tony's saying, I'm always making notes when I go fishing, noting pressures and moon phases. And that's what I said earlier, lots of people do it. It's part of their armoury, and as Ian says, data. If you find it important and it works for you, happy days. I just can't. I just go fishing when I can. If it's and at the moment it's almost non-existent. I watch other people fishing when they come down to the lakes here, but it's not there at the moment. There's so much happening in Palatrax, and that's exciting for me. They live on the naturals. Yes, Vince, I think Vince is what he's saying there is, why don't these big fish get caught? And they do. They're just focused on naturals. That's where they're going to get their better, and they're wary. Fish learn by association. And, why is it that a fish will get caught once in its kind of formative years and you never see it, and then suddenly it gets tripped up and it's not been caught for 15 years and it's there? And it's been quite happily just pushing out anglers' baits, not feeding on them, or certainly not feeding on the ones where you can't really feed, but it's not picking up the ones that's on the hair or on the hook, but eating the bits around it. They're not stupid. People come out with all this outrageous stuff that, they've got a memory of a goldfish. Well, goldfish has been proven to have a very, very good look. Please have a look at this month's Catch More Fish. What we're talking about that? Oh yes, sorry, you're talking to Tony. Yes, because Ian's done a piece on all of this kind of stuff, and certainly worth reading. Galaxy Note phone, take pick a swim, whip the phone's pen out and mark on pics my spots, how many wraps and depths, and those kind of things I can see really being useful without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, it's all useful if you find it useful, to be quite honest, but perhaps I'm being lazy. But I say for me, it's very much, I focus on just getting a chance to get out there, definitely out there. Galen from Canada, they are definitely not stupid, they outsmart me all the time. They're so cruel. I've got an addiction for chocolate, if you don't know me. And here's Ian Brookman saying Pom used Galaxy but now prefers Cadbury's. That's so harsh. So I don't actually I was doing really well for 2 weeks, and then it's all gone horribly wrong again. I've fallen off the wagon into Thornton's and all this kind of stuff. And I actually had, for the first time for ages, a bar of Cadbury's the other night. I persuaded Tinny that she needed to get me some chocolate, and I thought it was disgusting. It's definitely not the same as when I used to eat it, but then I found out that it's been bought by the Americans or something, so probably eating Hershey chocolate now in the Cadbury's wrapper. But I digress. So Sam Roth, how can I catch the biggest fish in Jack's pool? Well, there we go. We don't know how big that fish is now. I mean, the last time it came out over a year ago, it was 32.12. And yeah, worm. If you said to me, right, you've got to go and catch a big fish out there, I'd be float fishing worm without a shadow of a doubt. Naturals. Like I say, I've got a bait company and people go, load of jungle in there or something like that. No, I'll be lying to you. Maggots and worms will always outfish any man-made bait from a consistency point of view. The only problem you've got with maggots and worms, even corn, like, Mike had his fish today on 3 grains of corn. We have got sucked into a trap where people think you can only fish for a boilie, and that's not just for carp, that's for multi-species now, barbel, bream, chub, things like that. No, you tench, fish with naturals. The only trouble is everything likes naturals. And so if you're fishing for a particular species, let's say you're going tench fishing, red maggot for tench has been caught me loads of tench over the years. But the trouble is, everything likes red maggots. So you're bringing them in, unless you're float fishing, you're bringing them in, and there's nothing there because the rudd or the roach or whatever have been whittling away at them. But yes, Sam, if that was me, and if Matt Rice has got his gear together by then, we'll have a wormery and we'll be able to give you some worms. And yeah, that's a strange one about worms. I've been thinking a lot since I've got this fishery about allowing people to bring worms off-site onto it, because they will come out of a ground from somewhere else, and they do potentially have the ability to be a biosecurity problem, which is one of the reasons why we do want to have a wormery here, because I'd rather people didn't bring them in. It's something quite new in my head. I might be totally wrong, but why the risk, especially if I can give worms to people? So that sounds wrong. You know what I mean? Give worms to people for fishing. Keith and myself are coming for that big fit on Jack's. Well, it's there. It's there. There's three fish over 30 now that I know of. And there's definitely, I wouldn't be surprised there's a mirror in Ben's pool, which is, I think that might be the biggest fish on the complex. Nobody's ever caught that one. Well, it's been caught at 29.12, but that was like 2 years ago. So, and that, I've seen it. It's wide, as fat as a barrel it is. It really is proper fat. Very shortly we'll have the draw, and then I'm just going to do one more question. And I apologise if I've not answered any questions. I'm going to get microwave tea, just 20 seconds to give it a bit of warm. So if you've got any more questions before, let me go. Wormery's on the list, but it's a very long list. That's getting bigger. Well, that's because you never ever, if you don't know, Matthew Wright is the fishery manager here at Ashmansworthy Pools, and his list is getting longer because he doesn't start at the beginning. He just doesn't do anything. He just sits around, lounges around, drinking my rum, and generally having an enjoyable time. But no, wormery, well, I'm away next week, Matt, so perhaps you want to start on the wormery. Talk to Keith, he's just done a feature on wormeries. We've got loads of cardboard. But no, going back to seriously, yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you back down here, Tony. It's been a while, so these fish are certainly cracking on the weight. Thank you, Timmy. So, right, this is quite. I'm gonna take them. Like I said, I've got several other questions. I do apologise. Hopefully, what are the green willy worms sell or used to sell? I don't know. I don't know what they're using. I mean, I saw some stuff today, and I was saying to Keith, because this thing had this huge amount of hits, and it was all this glowy stuff. And I think once you own fish, you have a very different interpretation. Whereas people see this glowy stuff and go, "Oh wow, the fish must see it." Well, they can't see it at night, and it dissipates really, really quickly. But what is it? And I do. It's going to be a chemical of some sort. I just hope and pray that it is fish safe, and it's complying with DEFRA and animal feed regulations, because I do worry. Yeah, I don't want green worms. Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one, but this one is more aimed at the match angler, predominantly. But that's not to say it doesn't travel over. People keep on asking, and Russ Bradley has asked me, and rightly so, and it's a difficult one for me, is people ask me for the grips, hooks to nylon. And this is where I suppose I use it, it's not naive or ingredients, it's just the fact that how would you know that how hooks are made, where they come from, who makes them, how many different manufacturers. Now with grips, they're really expensive to make. And I've been on a bit of a, obviously, crusade in many ways. People say to me, "Oh, they're expensive." Well, they're no more expensive than any normal packet hooks, or standard, should I say, packet hooks. But if you're buying a packet of 10 hooks and you're having to bin every hook after one or two fish, that is pretty abysmal. Now, well, Vince has just come up there, soak them in ale. I'm not too sure what we're talking about now. Is that your worms? Get your worms drunk. But I can remember Vince contacting me saying, "Look, Simon, I've had to retire a grip, so I've had 27 carp on it." And so if you make hooks using the manufacturing processes available to be more durable, it'll last a long time. You'll catch multiple fish on it, and so you've got no carbon footprint. You get far better. So if you're catching, let's just say 2 hooks on a standard packet, 2 fish per hook on a standard, that's 20 fish. If you're catching 20 fish per hook on grips, because it's cutting point and the quality of wire and things like that, you're getting 200 fish landed. So that's what some anglers just don't really appreciate. You're getting so much better value for money, and it's not me trying to sell it. At the end of the day, I designed this for me and people around me who really are into their hook design, things like that. So but there we go. So I'm being asked about hooks to nylon, and I can't compete. I just cannot compete. If my hooks, for example, cost 7 times as much as a standard hook, I can't compete with the small hooks that are being made, because my hooks, not only are they made from the best grade wire. I'm not saying other hooks aren't made from the best grade wire, but it's imprinting the tiny little grooves, the grip screws. That is a really costing factor, because basically you're remanufacturing. So you've got your cutting point to make it durable, and then you're remanufacturing. So unfortunately, I'd love to do it. I think the match angler is missing a massive edge, because the whole point of them is to, most match fisheries are barbless, if not all, or 99%. And so if you've got an edge of a hook that'll hold the fish on better and is easier to release. But the match market hasn't even seen these yet. I think once they do grasp how good they are and realise how, strong, reliable and things like that, they could potentially really have a huge impact in the matching scene. But it's just so difficult for me. I wish I had a way of actually doing it without losing loads of money. So there we go. Somebody's talking about green. Where was that? James knows his stuff on this. He's saying it's EU regulated product in their glowworms, so all hush. That's fine then. Oh, thank you. You put the link up as well, so anybody interested in that will be very interesting. Steve is saying I've been using the same hook for months. Well, yeah, I don't bin hooks. Oh no, Lee, hope you and Amber are well, Lee. No worries at all. So always ketchup. Always ketchup. Catch up. Right, so one thing I will do before I go, because Keith will tell me off for doing a lot over an hour and it won't fit on YouTube. Can I just send, I know this is not on the team page, but there's lots of team members here. We have a team member, John Marriott. I hope he doesn't mind. He's in hospital. He's very poorly at the moment, and I'd like to wish him all the best from myself, the mob down here in Devon, and Team Palatrax in general. So John, if you are managing to pick this up, wishing you all the best, mate. Wishing you all the best. Get well soon. Get back down here. Get back catching fish. And last but not least, 2 winners tonight, because I'm feeling hugely generous. The other questions I will hold over for next week, so it hasn't been not worth your while. I've just run out of time like I always do. Terrible, could have gone forever. I'm talking fishing, so it's good stuff. So we have 2 winners here. I know one of them very well.
You're not on next week.
So it is Stephen Thompson and Wayne Tester. You have both won. These, where are they? What have I done with them? So you both get the new range, and they are in 6, 8 and 10s of the Eagle Eyes. So guys, if you could please send me your addresses to the Palatrax messenger page where you've sent yes, we will get those. So Steve Thompson, well done, and Wayne Tester, well done. Congratulations, folks. Congratulations. So that is me done for another Sunday. Thanks ever so much for spending some time with me. I hope there was a few little gems there to keep you interested, but do have a think. I haven't covered one subject, which, to be fair, was a question about watercraft. It was a really good question, but this, have a look, if you get the opportunity, have a look at Catch Small Fish. And I am trying to give it a plug, because it's done for the right reasons. There's no massive advert and campaigns and contrived stuff. It's written from the heart. There is, that was my main feature this month, and to be quite honest, all I could do with over 6 pages is like scratch the surface of watercraft. Watercraft is the thing I see missing a lot now. You can't just turn up and go to the car park swim and expect to, and that's where I talk about, my old lakes, people just turn up to the easy swim, as in the easiest one to get to, and all the fish would be at the top of the lakes, and you'd be going, yeah, but they're up there, and oh no, they come to me. I would always go out there, always expect the fish never to come to you, never to come to you. Thank you, Robert. I won't be here for the team next week. You'll have Keith running it because I'm away on business, as I say, and his guest is Ian, so the cover star and who's written in the magazine. He will be Keith's guest next week, and I will be back here in 2 weeks' time. But stay safe, folks. You know, if you've only got any questions about anything tonight or anything in general, you can always reach out and reach me or Keith or anybody else that you need to speak to. So, yeah, thanks again. Been good to see you and speak to you. Nice to see the regulars. And last but not least, to say, John, get well soon. I'm out of here, folks. Take care.